there's an old saying that goes, movies aren't released, they escape. And in the case of Uncharted, it probably might have helped to escape at some point earlier or not at all. Based on a series of PlayStation games, first released in 2007 and originally optioned for a feature film right the hell away in 2008 on the premise of, well, this is basically already a less interesting Indiana Jones knockoff, but interactive, so somebody might as well. It's languished in development hell, bouncing between something like a dozen different writers, directors, scripts, and production teams long enough that Mark Wahlberg was originally cast as the lead and now finds himself playing the older sidekick/mentor figure to Tom Holland, with the story retooled as a prequel to the games because the boomers, Generation Xers casting Hollywood movies still have not accepted that all the quality of life improvements of the last couple decades means that a guy can be a grown-ass man in his 20s without looking like he's actually in his 40s. This also means that, prequel or not, the version of Uncharted that finally makes its way to theaters, with director Ruben Fleischer and 3 screenwriters all lined up to fall on their swords as having been nominally in charge of whatever's happened here, is in the extra awkward position of having very clearly gone into development, originally circa 2017, at a point when the producers had absolutely zero faith in Tom Holland's ability to actually carry an action franchise on his own, and thus would require an older established star to do some of the heavy lifting and audience drawing a la Robert Downey Jr. in Spider-Man Homecoming from that same year. So now fast forward to 2022, and Uncharted, which also hasn't produced a new game in about 6 years, now arrives as a brand new big budget theatrical blockbuster starring Hollywood's current most celebrated pretty/handsome young boy man movie star who just got done headlining the biggest movie release in the world of the last 2.5 years in a movie that constantly treats him as at best a co-lead who needs to be carried through the plot and taught to be a movie star by the thoroughly bored-looking lead of Netflix's Spencer for Hire, making desperate attempts at mimicking the same relationship chemistry Downey, Gyllenhaal, Favreau, and Cumberbatch all had in the same spot in the Spider-Man movies. Anyway, if you're unfamiliar with the Uncharted games and or Nathan Drake, well, Indiana Jones, but a douchebag who owns a thesaurus is kind of the beginning and end of what we're working with here, because he's a male video game protagonist from the 2000s, and for a hot minute there, nerds were convinced that a character ripped off from a movie you liked from the 80s, but if they were Nathan Fillion from Firefly, was good enough writing. But anyway, the story, such as it is, to hang all of this on, finds Holland as a young Nathan Drake, slick ninja bartender and pickpocket, possibly descended from Sir Francis Look-It-Up Drake, whose life of petty theft and pining for his long-lost brother sequel setup Drake is interrupted by Wahlberg's ne'er-do-well treasure hunter Sully, because Drake's special skills of having a relationship that pre-exists in the games with this character is needed to solve a series of weak-sauce national treasure puzzles in order to beat Antonio Banderas' poorly defined Da Vinci Code bad guy and either ally with or also outwit Sophia Ali's also really only here because I'm in the game Tomb Raider Chloe Frazier in a shockingly boring Raiders of the Lost Ark treasure hunt around the world to find some Goonies pirate spoils, Alan Quatermain, King Solomon's Mine, Gold Diggers, The Secret of Bear Mountain. Okay, so clearly doing this was all a very bad idea. Did it manage to work out any good? I mean, no, honestly. What did you think? It's an Uncharted movie. The best you could have hoped for from a straight one-to-one translation would have been a C-grade Xerox of something that was already done dozens of times better as movies, and if they'd even attempted to do something meaningfully different with the premise, gamers would have raised holy hell about it, and since you didn't hear that, you can probably gather correctly that this is a blandly inoffensive assembly line thing that briefly only comes alive for its one big novel set-piece action beat, the scene with the 2 pirate ships suspended from helicopters in the trailers, which is almost fun enough, yeah, to make you forgive how bad the green screen compositing looks, and otherwise practically marks time under a text scroll of, yeah, we know we paid for these rights when this looked like it'd be popular for longer, but hey, look how in shape Spider-Man gets when we're not making him play a teenager, huh? Okay, look, if this does well enough, we'll do another one and maybe it'll be better, okay? It really can't be emphasized enough, though, just how much of a drag Wahlberg's presence is on the proceedings of what's already a not very good movie. Even if you're a fan, it ends up feeling like a film where the main lead has been cut in half with all the quips and exposition going one way and the not that interesting action going the other. Just watch for how many scenes contrive an excuse for Holland to two-hand climb his way out of a situation that in no way calls for two-hand climbing because it's a mechanic from the games and they have to do something like that. And the film reverts to either banter scenes where nothing really interesting is being talked about or action scenes where little of consequence is really happening. 5 out of 10, I guess. It's a nothing movie where nothing really bad is going on, but nothing really good is going on either. And to be honest, the reason this review didn't go up right after I saw it on Wednesday is because I kind of forgot that I watched it, so take from that what you will.